Hey, listen to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and NPR. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Discord, we got Josh.
Hey,
Two big shows this weekend. We got WWE's Money in the Bank, as well as WWE crossing over with AAA with Worlds Collide. We're going to talk about Money in the Bank first up, and then we will move on over to Worlds Collide as time permits. So we got 4 matches at the time of recording for Money in the Bank. Let's talk Women's Intercontinental Championship. It's a rematch. We've seen Lyra Valkyria take on Becky Lynch, but this time we got a stipulation of it being her last chance.
yeah, this is when by all logic, this should be when Becky wins the match, wins the title, right?
Mhm.
Um, Something that I actually found out that I didn't pay attention to before is it was Lyra that ended Becky's NXT title reign, too.
Mhm.
So Lyra is 2-0 against Becky Lynch. Um, so yeah, logically, Becky Lynch should win here. Part of me is like, say, if they really want to make Lyra into massive star, have her go over here in this last chance match. Have her go over and have Becky be forced to acknowledge her in some way, shape, or form. Um, but at the end of the day, they're going to do the easy way out, and they're going to go Becky wins. But they have a chance to develop some character out of Lyra. Lyra is supposed to raise her hand and acknowledge her as the better woman. What if she doesn't do that? Or what if she does it in jest and then attacks her for like the way Becky did at the last pay-per-view?
Mhm.
So the, I'm because I think we need a rubber match. I think we need a rubber match with like the Hell in a Cell or something, some massive stipulation that's bigger than just the title.
Yeah, I think there's a few different ways it can go, and you highlighted a lot of them. The only thing that there still is that Bailey in the wings, right? We know it was Becky Lynch that attacked her at WrestleMania, took her spot, and is still sitting there. Could she play a factor in here? Could she screw over Becky Lynch and their feud being like, I can't challenge for this title anymore because you interfered and took away my shot? Could it be Becky Lynch wins, Bailey emerges afterwards or on the weekly tapings afterwards and makes a claim for the title? Do we go to a third match? There's a few different bits and pieces. Money in the Bank is often like a branching pay-per-view because there is 6 people in each of these ladder matches, and those could play on and do so many different things. And it's funny to see so many branching options from a Women's Intercontinental Championship match on that same pay-per-view, but I do see quite a lot. Although, logically, with you, I do think the smart money's probably just on a Becky Lynch win here. I do think that there's a lot of story that they could tell with Becky Lynch losing and that championship still getting the shine, even though it's not a main event talent and Becky Lynch holding the title. You still had your Lyra beat Becky twice and stop her from ever challenging for it, and then you can do something with the multitude of women that are on that Raw roster. Well, the only other non-Money in the Bank ladder match is a tag team match. We've got our 2 champs, Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, taking on John Cena and Logan Paul.
Uh, this this is a difficult for me to say because I think logically,
Don't say it.
I I think the heels have to win.
Oh, you didn't have to say it.
Well, at least I didn't say who their names. um, but I think I don't. It just doesn't make much sense to me for Jay and Cody to win here. Um, so yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think we might see the return of The Rock. We might see uh we might see that rapper guy show up.
Travis
Uh
Scott.
yeah. We might or we just might see another piece of the puzzle that we haven't seen before. For all we know, we may see the Bloodline 2.0 show up in this match. But the only thing that I'm almost certain of is that I don't see Cody and Jay winning the match. Now the question is who takes the fall. That's the big question.
Well, I hear what you're saying, and I'm picking Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso to win. I think, you got this John Cena retirement run, right? And you've got so many things that you're going to build out of it or spin off of it. And I think if he is going to end up holding that championship until November, really late in the year, winning title defenses here, there, and everywhere, I think you do have to have him take some losses. And maybe in a tag match where the title's not on the line is a great place to have that. If you do want, like a John Cena loses here, maybe Logan Paul's the one who takes the fall, and then we can have Cody Rhodes, John Cena, where John Cena can retain the championship and keep doing whatever he's going to be doing. But I don't know. I feel like you got two big egos in heel Cena and Paul. There's plenty of just explosion you can do between them. But yeah, the emergence of Cody Rhodes is really the big question mark here. If it was anybody else teaming with Jey Uso, I wouldn't even be playing around with this. But I don't know. I got a feeling it might just be Rhodes and Uso walking out the victors here. But it's just as likely that the heels do come out on top as the heels always do. Let's talk Money in the Bank ladder matches. Let's go women's first up. Our 6 competitors: Alexa Bliss, Roxanne Perez, Rhea Ripley, Julia, Naomi, and Stephanie Vicure. 3 of them just coming on up from NXT in the last month.
Which is why I'm picking Roxanne Perez to win it. I think it's set up really well this year. This match here reminds me of like the final 4 from the Royal Rumble that Shinsuke won, that had Cena and the old guard against the new guard in the final 6.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of that. And I think a major way that you can build Roxanne Perez, or any of one of the 3 new ones, is via that briefcase. If you want to make the statement that they're ready to step into that spotlight, this is a major way that you can do that. That said, if anyone the old guard win, for me it's Naomi. I do not want to see Rhea Ripley with the briefcase, and I don't want to see Bliss with getting a second briefcase.
Yeah, it's entirely fair. I think for me, the number one not wanting is Rhea Ripley. I think she's been so involved and around that championship and with Liv Morgan and with everything else. Her having the briefcase and just hovering around that championship scene again, I don't really need to see it. I think we almost need to cool a little bit on Rhea Ripley. I'm with you. I think Naomi is a solid choice to come out of this. I think she's obviously still got her feud with Jade, and there's something there with Bianca Belair, and you can still pull something off. We've seen plenty of people feud over the briefcase. Maybe Jade and hers feud becomes over the briefcase, or Bianca comes on in. So I think solid option. Alexa Bliss, I just have no faith in WWE doing something. It seems like we're very stop-start with Alexa Bliss right now. We had the Rumble, the Wyatt 6 pop out. Is she with them? Is she not? She's had this match. I just don't know what their long-term or even their medium-term plans are with Alexa Bliss. So I don't really want to commit to her holding the briefcase and being that focal point for the women's division. And that brings me to the 3 NXTers. You got Stephanie, who is pulling double duty after a match at Worlds Collide. I think that's a good reason to have her not at 100% and not coming out of this match with the win. And then you got Roxanne Perez and Julia as the 2 options. And if I think about who's doing more at the moment in terms of story, in terms of building stuff, it's Roxanne Perez. She has integrated herself into that Judgment Day storyline, and we know Liv Morgan wanted to be in this match, didn't qualify. We know that there's divisions. Roxanne Perez appears to be potentially siding with the Finn Balor faction within the Judgment Day. What more can you give them, to cause them to fracture than to give Roxanne the chance at a women's championship? When it looks like Liv and Raquel with their tag titles are potentially going to have to defend them against Kairi and Sky. I think there's just more story in Roxanne Perez, and as you say, it would be a rocket strap and send her to the moon and make her important off the bat. Julia and Stephanie are going to look as important whether they win this briefcase or not. I think they are pretty imposing characters, and I'm interested to see what they're going to do. But it feels like Roxanne's. Really does. And then on the men's side of things, Solo Sikoa, LA Knight, Penta, Seth Rollins, Andrade, and El Grande Americano taking the last slot this week.
Immediately strike out of El Grande Americano.
Who's also pulling double duty, kind of.
Technically, yes. So yeah, I immediately strike him out. I love Penta, but I don't think he's ready for this type of role. And I'm going to use the same argument that I used against Alexa Bliss here. I don't want to see Seth Rollins with the second briefcase, although the storyline would definitely call for it. So I've already knocked out three big names here. I'm going with Andrade.
Okay.
I think as a little bit of a surprise, I think they'll maybe start building with him. I'm not as sure as I sound on it. I could see LA Knight winning. My dark horse is Solo Sikoa, because I think Solo's been pretty funny, and I think he's catching on with the crowd. So I could see him holding the briefcase and having that as part of the element with our good old friend Jacob Fatu.
Mm-hmm.
But I think at the end of the day, I think this match, is they're going to work on trying to build a star out of this match. And I think with the whole thing with the Worlds Collide too, I think that gives a pretty good chance that Andrade might get the nod.
Yeah, for me, who do I want to win? Much like, I would have picked Julia in the women's just from a personal preference. I probably would pick Penta. But I agree. I don't see Penta running around with the Money in the Bank briefcase. It is definitely a possibility. El Grande Americano potentially doesn't even make it to the show, depending on how Worlds Collide go. He might be hanging out with his best friend Chad Gable, who just got beaten up by Vikingo. Maybe he's a little too busy consoling Gable to come on out for his opportunity here, but we'll have to see. I think for me it's a toss-up. The want is Penta, and the head is tossing up between a Seth Rollins or a Solo Sikoa. I think Seth Rollins' he's sort of fallen back into that architect piece. He's got the crew around him. He would be quite a formidable Money in the Bank briefcase haver. He could just, it doesn't even have to be after a match, right? He just shows up with his crew. He gets Bronson and Braun to beat the HE double hockey sticks out of you and just cashes in. He's a real threat at any time. And I think it works well. The only thing holding against him is maybe a CM Punk stopping him from being the winner, maybe screwing him over. And the Solo Sikoa side of things, I don't know. I think, as you say, he's been doing some good stuff, and maybe I'm getting a little behind him. I want to see something come out of this bloodline stuff, and if he's got JC Mateo by his side, that's a pretty strong sort of ally when you come into a Money in the Bank ladder match. Obviously, Seth may have his group as well. There's a few different elements there, but if I had to toss the coin from a head side of things, I'd probably go Seth Rollins with an outside chance of Solo and a heart pick on Penta. The same way I would sort of go with a Roxanne Perez pick and an outside pick on Naomi and with Julia as the heart pick, but I think it's some good Money in the Bank ladder matches this year for sure. Well, that is all of the Money in the Bank card that we have at the moment. So it is time to go into our entrance theme this week, and you have heard it recently. It is R-Truth's theme. We have the unfortunate news that R-Truth's contract will not be renewed, and he is effectively finished with the WWE. And you're back to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MP. I'm Grady, he's Josh, and Worlds Collide time. We mentioned it already. Chad Gable has himself a match for the AAA Mega Championship against Vikingo, who has just become the champion recently after defeating a man who shall not be named. And I know that we did switch the TNA Championship onto Trick Williams, but do you really see Chad Gable coming away with AAA's Mega Championship?
With the fact that WWE owns a AAA, I'm not going to put anything against it. I don't know. I don't think he'll win, but I've seen crazier things happen.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some options on this card for some shock non-WWE wins, right? I don't expect it to be all WWE dominance on all of these matches, but they keep showing Vikingo in the crowd. They keep giving him these spots and explaining who he is. I think he is meant to be the top star of WWE's AAA. And so, if anything, putting him in a match with Chad Gable is just to showcase him. Put him against a guy who we know can do good work, especially with luchadors, funnily enough. A little bit of story there just built in. Pop off, show how good Vikingo is to the WWE audience, and then start building this guy as the sort of tippy top of WWE's AAA. We also have another person doing double duty, Stephanie Vacure. She will be teaming up against Lola Vice in a tag team match in the, I believe, only women's match on the card, Chick Tormenta and Dallas as their opponents.
I think this one is more certain on one way or the other. I think the WWE girls win here. Mm-hmm. I think this will be one of the. I think this will be one of the, when it's straight up AAA versus WWE. I think this will be one of the few wins WWE gets, and I think it's because of Stephanie. I don't think it's because of Lola, as talented as Lola is. I think it'll be because they want to showcase Stephanie and what she did in AAA prior to her signing. So I think they win.
Yeah, I agree. I think with Stephanie losing her women's championship because of these two women, it's sort of like they've got one up on her right now, and Stephanie has debuted on the main roster, has the match at Money in the Bank, feels like she needs that momentum, right? You know, you put away Tormenta and Dallas, who cost you your title, you go with a clear head and a win heading into Money in the Bank, where you're going to try and grab that briefcase. It makes the most sense coming out of here, and yeah, would sort of even the scales, I guess, if Vikingo is winning against Gable for, as you say, the WWE girls to come out on top. Well, we've also got a NXT North American Championship on the line. Ethan Page from NXT, Javon Evans from NXT, Laredo Kid from AAA, and Ray Phoenix from WWE, all clashing in a fatal four-way match for that North American Championship.
I'm going Javon Evans. I think Ethan Page ends up being a transitional champion. I think they transition it to Javon, and I think the outcome may involve Ricky Saints. Because I don't think Ethan Page and Ricky Saints are done with each other. So I can easily see him screwing over Ethan Page, and we're going to keep the title in NXT. We're not going to take it to AAA or SmackDown. So my opinion is it's either going to be Javon Evans or Ethan Page retains.
Yeah, it's fair enough. I think I'm with you. I don't think we're passing the title over to Laredo Kid. If you had me picking a second option, maybe Phoenix. Sort of in the way that Solo Sikoa won the NXT North American Championship. Maybe a little bit of a run down there if they don't really have a whole lot for him. But yeah, with Saints floating around and Page being his number one enemy, you do have to figure that it's gonna play into this match. Javon Evans is ready for the strap. I think he's done some amazing things. He's shown what he can do in the main event. Why not give him a North American Championship run? I'm not against it. It's just, where do the cards lay? What do they want to do with everybody of this? What do they want to do with Phoenix? What do they want to do with Evans? And do they want to keep Page versus Saints over the title, or do they want to loosen that title up and continue it as a non-title feud? Oh, we've got 2 6-man tag team matches, the first of which we'll see Legado del Fantasma, who are in a bit of a rut at the moment, Santos Escobar, Angel, and Berto, taking on the team of El Hijo D, Dr. Wagner Jr., Pagano, and Psycho Clown.
And you just said exactly why I think AAA will win here. Legado del Fantasma have struggled and have not done anything in pretty much the 3 years that they've been on the main roster. So I don't think it makes much sense to put them over the AAA guys. I think it'll be an insane match. I think both of these 6-man matches, I think, will have some jaw-dropping moments. But I think at the end of the day, this is going to be the AAA guys.
Yeah, I agree. I think with the friction within Legado del Fantasma, you do have a nice, easy way to pull off a loss here. And when I look across to the other side, I don't know everything about the AAA roster. I'm not going to pretend like I do, but I do know that Dr. Wagner Jr. and Psycho Clown are pretty high on up the card, right? They are some of the higher up guys in AAA. They're going against, as you said, people who haven't done a whole lot on the main roster and have friction. The cards are kind of stacked in the Faces side here on AAA's side. So you got to pick the obvious choice. But if we look at the other 6-man tag team match from AAA, Octagon Jr., Aerostar, and Mr. Iguana, well, on the WWE side, it was to be the LWO, Cruz, Wild, and Dragon Lee, but Wild getting injured and having a last-minute replacement by Lince Dorado.
It'll be nice seeing Lince working here. Again, and I'm going to parrot exactly what I just said about the other match that we talked about. The Latino World Order, outside of Rey Mysterio, has done absolutely nothing in the last 3 years. So I don't see any point in putting them over the AAA guys, unless you're just going to do it just to do it. So I'll go with the AAA guys.
Yeah, I think less so than the other side. Like, if I think the star power from the AAA guys against Legado, I think that's a little bit higher than the star power here. This one's a bit more of a toss-up for me, but the last-minute switch out to Lince could be positive, could be negative. Ultimately, I'm going to bring it down to if Rey Mysterio comes out with the LWO at the start of the match, then I'm going to say the LWO win, so that we get a Rey Mysterio feel-good point there. But if Rey Mysterio is nowhere to be seen with the LWO in this match, then for sure AAA is going to come out on top. What is interesting is that Rey Mysterio himself not having a match on this card. He is on the poster, but he could have been that sub for LWO. There was some options for him. Don't mind me just shooing a cat off of my desk. Is there anything else you can think of from this weekend, Money in the Bank, Worlds Collide, potentially the Raw on afterwards that may shock, maybe a surprise pick, anything like that to fill the last 30 seconds to a minute of the show?
I think there'll be a fake out cash in the main event of Raw. Whoever wins, I think, will start to act like they're going to cash in, and then something will prevent it. Because I think Gunther and Jay are going to go to war on Monday. And I don't think there'll be much left of either one once the fight is over.
That is fair. Well, we'll keep an eye on Raw as well, obviously in quick succession after Money in the Bank and Worlds Collide. But that is all we have time for this week. It's been great talking to you.
Bye.
Visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/wrestling R&D up, our Twitter page, twitter.com/wrestling R&D up, our YouTube page, youtube.com/wrestling RND up. And we will catch you next week.